one treated off on that one. That was the tree at, in front of, Kings that you had done a pruning of, Phil.
Yep.
I'm gonna give it to our new person.
This is Nick Duffy. He's a spy from Bartlett Tree Company. Yep.
What does Bartlett's Tree Company do?
I'm sorry?
What do you do? You
I'm an
manage,
arborist, so take care of trees.
take care of trees?
Yeah.
So it used to be 309, but it's built, it's been corrected to 310. Okay.
The tree at the Kings.
Yep,
Just to get
gotcha.
the records.
Gotcha. Yep.
It's still alive and well, so pretty well, I guess. We are at you, Bill, so I let you take it away, or do you want me to just go through stuff? How do you want to do that?
Oh, it doesn't matter. We're just gearing up right now. Hasn't been much done. Tree number 31's gone.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you had sent me a note about it. You said a lot of stuff was going on in the tree.
Yeah, that thing was pretty roughed out down on the inside. And I got a sample from
Where,
that.
in the cambium area of it?
The whole inside of that tree was
The heartwood.
the heartwood is pretty much all the way out to the very edge of the.
Wow.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
I think I texted you about it. Was there any evidence that the injection sites for Arbitect were?
Yeah, they didn't look good. And neither did, I took a whole bunch of pictures, and I've got a big old chunk of it back at my house too. There's a lot of old scarring on the inside of that kind of showed.
Scarring in the.
Yeah, you can see where there'd been multiple layers of compartmentalization within the tree, predating the treatments that we'd done on it.
Oh, okay.
Then that could have gone back to other treatments because we've had, varying things going on here for forever.
Yeah.
And there was some sign of Dutch elm in it, though not by any means what I normally see in a tree that succumbed.
Beetle galleries here and there. And
I had a little bit of staining coming up the trunk, but most of the tree was not fully involved, which is kind of atypical. But when I got looking at the quality of the wood inside, that probably speaks to why we had really poor uptake on chemical, because it wasn't very hard to get beyond active tissue in that tree. Super.
Yeah, so it was sort of, because when it failed last summer, it just totally failed. The whole tree, like up one side, and then the rest of it all just.
Yep. Immediately. Yeah, and in some places the bark was hardly stuck on.
Really?
Yeah. And you could see areas that, which we usually don't see with a macro injection, where, it didn't look good. The xylem was totally shot in areas that looked like some of the micro injection stuff we did years ago, which didn't work on it at all, but it'd wipe out.
Do you keep samples of all the trees you work with?
No, I kept a sample of that one just because
It's interesting.
Yeah. And I'll probably take a chunk of that up to the cooperative and see if that was actually Dutch elm or just another staining. I'm assuming it's Dutch elm, and the path would be through that stump that was.
So I guess the question remains: how did it die? Was it Dutch elm disease that killed it, or was it just?
I don't think I didn't see enough. I didn't see enough. The tree wasn't heavily involved enough to have been choked out. Just minor. There was definitely staining, but it was localized. It wasn't in both layers. I peeled springtime, so the bark came off. I get some, I just took the loader and peeled off big chunks of bark off the stem, and I've got the pictures and take a look at them sometime. Just kind of showing.
So in terms of our track record for treatment of trees, this one, we aren't considering a failure of arbor. It's just an old tree that had lots of problems.
Right, or I'd say it's 50-50. Could be either way. There was,
5149.
there was an old elm stump next to it, which had,
Yeah,
on the other side of the fence, had gone totally unnoticed. I never had any idea. It was there, but it's got suckers on it. And that could certainly be a path in.
yeah, so it was alive, yeah.
Yeah, so that, that could have been a path for root contact. Not sure that it was.
Mhm. Okay,
Then when we did test it, we didn't get anything on the early.
so what I'm thinking of is what do I write in my next annual appeal letter? Gee. I'll let it go as an outlier, I guess.
I'd say it's an outlier. One way or the other, that would be probably our first treated tree.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it never had a great crown on it. It was tall and
Yep.
didn't have much
A
to it,
bit of decay up in the top too, localized.
really.
Some of those leaders were absolutely shot up there, and some of them were good.
Wow.
It was,
So it
kind of a,
It had reached the limit of its time on Earth, I guess.
and I'm not sure what I was looking at down on the butt. Maybe there was some old damage that was from work on the street, and you could see that, those areas of compartmentalization in the wood
Oh.
from that, because I didn't see it.
Could have been damaged and it would
Yeah,
affect the.
right, that can certainly travel up through that column. I'm not sure if that was what the case was, but there's just, like I said, I'll show you the pictures of it. You'll kind of see it.
I wouldn't call it a failure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was peculiar, but unscheduled termination.
But that being said, the last time we tried to put chemical into it, we were not fully successful anyway, so we didn't take it.
Okay, that's tree 31. I've been looking around and I've seen other trees, number 25, which is down directly opposite Dresser on the MMA side of Court.
Yep.
I don't know, it's not leafing out strongly. And then I drove down Pleasant a couple of days ago and there's two trees on Pleasant, and maybe it's just it's June and they haven't leafed out fully.
I think elm was slow this year to come out.
Yeah.
And, when I talked to my vendor down, he's from southern New England, he's like, have you noticed the trees aren't leafing out as strongly this year? And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So maybe we'll just hang on.
But everything looks better than it did a week ago.
But still, the Fenton tree, which is on our list, number 146, hasn't changed since 2 months ago, a month and a half ago.
No, I stopped by and looked at that, and it's not doing well.
What do you think?
That's another one that we go to do the injections. We're right into Heartwood, and that was always a good tree.
Yeah.
Till the tree next to it got hit by lightning, and
Yeah.
then we've had slow uptake on chemical. We did get chemical into it last time. Let's see if I think I sent you over.
146.
Excuse me.
While Bill is looking up that tree, any observations around that you've noticed? Because when I drive in a very hazardous manner. I drive like this. The trees. I'm always looking. Oh, what they going there?
You know,
So-
with Matt's new car, this fancy
What's
car,
that?
Matt's new car, if he takes his eyes off the street, an alarm goes off.
You're kidding me.
It somehow takes a picture of his head
Yeah.
and knows when it's turned to the side for too long.
Oh. So.
There's a monitor in the car somewhere.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Distracted driving, scolding. That's the Toyota white or
Land
silver
Cruiser.
Jeep.
That's a
Lexus?
Land Cruiser, Toyota Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser, yeah. Wow.
Creepy.
Can it be turned off?
I
Because
don't-
I had my car and I was driving down 295 and it's a Toyota, and it kept adjusting. I was like, what's going on? And it has this lane correct thing
Oh, yeah.
that you can push a button.
And turn it off.
Give me the creeps, you know,
Just one button.
somebody's driving my car
to the
for
right
me.
one, you gotta scroll.
Yeah. Well, no, mine's a button right there on the handle.
Oh,
There.
well,
No, I don't need it. Well, anyway. The only other ones of concern, well, 238 is Van Horn, right across the street here. And I confess I haven't really looked at it closely.
It's looking better.
Is it?
Yep.
But I have photos I took back when you pointed it out to us.
Yeah, that was slow. It's kind of come around a little
That
bit.
was May 30.
Yep.
I wish I could just go Bing and put up image of it. That'll be a nice thing someday. Bing, there's my photo. But it was just not leafing up yet, you know.
Let me see, Don.
you probably could.
Oh, yeah.
But part of it looked fine and the other part looked not so fine. It's like not one tree. It was, yeah.
Probably send it to the TV screen.
That's what I think. Wouldn't it be nice? Just
You
go
probably can.
Bing.
It's the right.
Then it wouldn't mess up. It takes him, see how long it took him to get this thing going here? It's not just 3 buttons he pushes. He has this. I don't wanna mess with it. So that's doing better. Number 238 improving.
Yeah, it's looking a little, looking like it might hang in there.
Betsy's 189.
I think that's probably a removal at this point.
Removal this year.
Yeah, I am thinking,
Oh.
there's no way we're gonna be able to treat that.
Yeah.
Again, there are no leaves on it to speak of.
Okay.
So the Fenton,
Yeah.
tree, what, just my field notes last time, not fit to treat.
Oh,
Wow,
Yeah.
that sounds bad.
And
and what year was that?
that would have been 3 years ago,
Oh,
so
so,
2022. And, so that, my note was not to not treat it, but, try to go higher on the stem. These are just my field notes anyway.
and the observation you made that should not fit to treat with what exactly? Just-
Not, it was not taking chemical
Okay,
very well. And,
okay.
you know, you can tell when you drill into them.
So that was a hint of
Yep. You know, things.
what later came 2 years later in 24.
Yep.
Which was that sudden, it was just like the tree on the corner of Court and Pleasant. It just suddenly, the leaves all went, just curled up and died. And unlike Dutch elm flagging, it wasn't like flagging at all.
No, my notes is try to inject higher in the stem
Yeah.
next time and see if we can get it to come.
Yeah, so we got a lot of takedowns, as I see it, well, at least that one. Betsy Foots and Fenton. So, but our finances are pretty good, that's the lucky part. Okay, any other trees, Bill, that we wanna talk about? There's the two on Pleasant, I haven't looked at them lately, they were number 10 and number 50. And they just looked kind of weak canopies, but maybe it's just the season. So,
I think give them time, they're looking
Yeah.
better, I don't know if they're looking better, but they're
I'll just put them under observation.
continuing to leaf out, yep.
Okay. So I think that covers most of them. Then there's the Castine tree down on Pleasant we'll deal with. That's sort of been hanging there on our list. Musgrove, 284. Those two. Musgrove one, you wanted to look at a leader and,
Yeah, we could do that, really at any point that we're working here in town.
okay.
Which we're gonna be down here doing the injections,
Yeah, and then
starting in a week or so,
you wanted, oh, okay.
probably.
And you wanted Chris Beagle to look at,
Right, yeah, I'd like to revisit that with him, cause it's really I mean, that would really be their deal.
okay.
I mean, it's kinda all in there right away, so.
Okay. Anything else on our tree parade for today? I was just talking with Nick about beech leaf disease
Oh,
and how Bartlett tree has been treating a few around town with Arbortect, which is effective, and it's yet to be determined how long it can last, right, Nick?
It's in 2 years for sure,
Two,
maybe more.
Yeah, I think it's 2 to 3 is what they're thinking
Yeah.
at this point.
okay. Forgot to write down,
I think the trick is, I'd love to know what Bill thinks too. He's probably been in the trenches longer than I have here. Some trees are too far gone, like if it's lost too much foliage, and might not be a good candidate for treatment. That's some of the ones I'm running into. I don't know that they're all salvageable at this point. Some.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to get the chemical in.
Right.
And it's gotta move around in the tree, but it seems like the trees that are doing well, whether they're injected or not, are still doing well, and then the beech leaf is more heavily affects trees that are stressed already.
Yeah. I've just been coming up here for the summers for the past few years, but it seems like it may have been a year or two ahead of us infection wise, but it seems like the trees across the bay, like over in Camden area, are worse than, I'm generalizing, but worse than over here.
Yeah.
They're further along.
well, most trees here are affected. Perkins Street, if you go down Perkins, all the ones on that street were affected. There's a tree on Washington Cove Road behind Fort George going down towards the public beach, and it seems fine, it looks fine.
Yeah, it just
It's
seems
right near the road too.
maybe they've been infected longer over there and they've just lost more foliage and
Maybe.
more bud abortions and, I don't know, I'm generalizing, but.
It was all pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
All pretty much at the same, give or take, split it by a year,
Yeah,
but it was nowhere and then it was everywhere.
right, crazy.
Okay. We're doing pretty well on time. Any other tree issues we need to talk about?
How about Don, we were talking the other day about the ash tree borers, problem that's on MDI and, I guess Bucksport starting to look at their ash trees now.
I think Belfast has.
Yeah. So, and like, there's a good article in the main town and city that I'm gonna send you or whatever about it, that just the whole, you can see the whole southern part of the state is now an infestation
That
zone.
looks suspiciously like the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry report. Is that what that is?
Well, it might be based on that may be, I
The
think,
graphics look
Maine
just like.
Forest Service.
Because
was
I
where it
get
was.
those
Yeah.
reports every,
So
whenever they send them out.
this is just an article, like the city of Bangor has identified
Yeah.
250 treatment trees, and they have 1,854 total species of ash trees. And
Yeah.
they're gonna treat those trees with some type of a 9-year insecticide, I guess it is. And, but I was talking to the code enforcement officer in Bucksport earlier this week, and they're starting to look at creating some type of a treatment system. Irony is when I look at some of the hot spots of this, I look at, normally it's where campgrounds have been, where I think they originally popped up because the wood came
Bring
from
in
out of
wood
state.
From elsewhere, yeah.
That seems to be perhaps why we're a little isolated down here, but, there's
It's
potential
why
there.
Mount Word popped up, I think.
Yeah.
Someone brought wood in there.
And I think they can fly like 5 miles or something like that, so it's kind of like a creeping thing, but I don't know what our stands are if we have a lot
I
of
don't
ashes
really, I
on
don't
our
have
public
any
roads.
idea what our ash population is here. I
Right.
don't focus on ash.
Well, I know, but I'm just, with our street trees or in the parks, if you've ever like noticed them or anything around town like that, or,
So with the golf course,
Yeah,
land
but-
number one,
yeah.
Ash? Where?
number one.
Where?
Whoa,
Ash
whoa,
trees.
whoa, tennis court line.
Ash trees? Those are ash.
Yeah, you get
Pretty small.
you get a mix of ash. There's one leaning over the building right here.
How's that?
Yep, but, not really a problem until it becomes a problem.
Right, 'cause they say they attack the canopy first, so that's part of the problem. A lot of people don't even see it. They just think, oh, a branch came down or this, that. I gotta check some in my backyard though, because I've been telling Dawn, I have a tree that's slowly dying from the top. I've watched it for the last like 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, I wonder if that's an ash tree. And I forgot to go home and take a picture of the leaf and figure it
A
out.
lot of ash look like that, especially this year.
Yeah,
Anyway, I'm not sure what went on last year, but a lot of them, totally EAB related, but a lot of them don't look great.
yeah.
And haven't. That comes and goes.
And I don't even understand this whole clump of trees. Half of it's not even on mine, it's in the sewer right away. But it's a clump of trees, but there's 3 different species that are all literally growing within like 2 or 3 feet of each other. And I'm like, I don't even get that. There's I think a Norway maple. I don't want to go into it. Well, Norway maples are now considered an invasive species, I
Been
found out.
considered for a long time.
I know, but I remember back in high school, in the olden days, identifying a sugar maple from a Norway maple. So, yeah. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
No.
Oh, what?
Up
The
and down.
structure of the Samara, the seed,
Yeah,
the canes, they're very different looking. Sugar
okay.
maples are like this and.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay,
That's
yeah.
what I was doing.
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't shutting you off.
Oh.
I was trying to do a
You're trying to
mechanical
tell me the thing.
thing here.
I think we identified it by the bark roughness or something.
The seeds give it away.
All right.
It's usually
Yeah.
leaf.
Yeah.
A lot of trees are by leaf.
But the seeds are easier. Okay, finances, we're in pretty good shape. We've got, in a matter of days, we'll have $25,000 in our budget from the town meeting. And we have currently almost 25,000 in our preservation fund, which is all our donors. This year's donor pool came to roughly 18,000. So we had about 7 or so left over from last year, which is good, and the replanting fund is 1,500. So I'm hoping we can make it through this year. We have what, in the teens of trees to treat?
Yep.
17 or 18?
Yeah, it's not the,
It's not the big year. Next year.
no, it's not the big year, right?
Yeah.
It's a large diameter year, but not the,
Okay.
not the big year.
Okay, good.
And I think, just looking at the trees where, I wanted to start right about now, but I think we'll give it a week or so.
Yeah.
Just for a little better update, maybe just after the 4th or something like that.
Well, we're gonna get chilly last night, I thought, and isn't it gonna get colder? One of these nights it's gonna be in the 40s or something. It's kind of weird. It's real cold all of a sudden. But you like a nice day like today, right?
Today would be fine.
Yeah.
Yep, preferably with a little rain thrown in here and there.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna have the Project Henry grant review following this meeting, and everyone is welcome to stay for that. I got yesterday an email, Kevin Allcroft's draft report on the Greenbee property, which is just adjacent to the transfer station, and it is a 58-page report. It's like, I can't read that overnight. I'll be dreaming about trees and species throughout the night. But we'll talk about that today, I'm sure. There's another fellow, W.J. Harriman. Do you know him, Harriman? No, he's a part of the Blue Hill Heritage Trust. He'll be here. He's doing another report also. Those are two foresters. Ina Schoenberg, who wrote the grant, and we got the grant, and he'll be here. Perhaps Caleb, who is the temporary steward for the Maine Coast Heritage Trust, is also involved. So feel free to stay if you want tree entertainment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. They'll come in at 10. Replanting. Carl reported to me that the black gum tree, the tupelo that was planted last fall, which looked dead as a doornail this spring, is leafing out. I was like, what? And I drove by. It is leafing out, but it's the bottom third of the tree. The top third, 2/3 of the tree don't look so great. So I think it just got incredible winter burn because it's in a location that is right opposite the playing fields, and those winds, the winter winds is probably hammered it. It's not. I don't think it's going to be worth keeping because it's not a complete tree. It's now a shrub kind of thing. You can check it out. You know where it is, Bill?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, I do. But, leave it in until you have something to replace it with.
I know.
Just,
That's what we did with one of the Valley Forge elms, which is right next to the maintenance facility at the golf club, right on the curve of that little driveway. Those trees are known to split apart and they have fragile crop structure. And that tree split apart right down the middle, and half of it was gone, and we left it there. It looks really nice, but it's half of the tree. It's got scar tissue all the way down one side of the tree. But it looks pretty. The other tree that we planted a while ago, a couple of years ago, was the tulip tree, which is leafing out. I want to check out the leaves there and then treat with neem oil if I have to, because they were, the first year they curled up badly. I don't know what that was, but that also happened to the Swedes oak trees that they planted on either side of their driveway. Those leaves just curled up. But the trees are alive and they seem okay. But
from a distance, they look all right this year.
yeah.
And sometimes that comes and goes.
And is that a fungus?
Yep.
Yeah. Is neem oil effective, or is that only an insecticide?
I don't think that I just let it run its course unless it's multiple infection, unless it starts coming back on back-to-back years. I notice a lot of that stuff's here and then it's gone.
Okay, so replanting, we're gonna do a little more of that this year, and we gotta take photos, because I didn't really have a decent photo for our poster
New Tree City USA.
from Tree City USA. We're 16 years now. This is the poster, if you remember from last time. This was the one picture that was taken of the Tupelo. And they used this one from last year just to fill out the poster. This is a historic photo of the first fairway, but it shows the two elms, one at the end of the tennis courts and one on the third fairway, doing nicely. But that's what Castine looked like then, with barely any trees anywhere else. And I like this one just because of the
Yeah, it's beautiful.
texture.
I like the one with me in it wearing the same clothes that I'm wearing today.
That's fabulous.
Maybe the hat.
And the same hat too.
Yeah.
Nice shoes.
Oh, well.
Red shoes.
And what
Oh, I
year
had
was the
red
fairway
shoes.
picture from roughly?
I would say that probably is in the 1920s.
Yeah.
And I have another photo that is from my grandmother's Kodachrome collection, which is still nice color, and it was taken further down, and it looks across the 6th fairway over to West Brooksville. And there's no houses down at the end of Castine there. All you can see, the cemetery, all the stones are white, they're all clean white. Very different looking. But that was our poster, and other towns' posters, towns send their photos in for what they've done for the year, and they send in like 20 photos. So some of these posters have all these little tiny photos of people standing in front of trees. Not quite as cool as that. It's like,
Where do you guys get your trees from?
I go down to Plants Unlimited.
From Rockland?
Yeah.
Or Rockland,
Yeah.
whatever it's-
And we could go to Sprague's too, and the other recommended spot is Old Dolls and Westbrook. Yeah, they're good.
Just curious.
Yeah, those are the three go-to places, I think, for quality. But as we experienced last year, we ordered a white oak, and we ordered that Tupelo. And what we got was a Tupelo and a red oak that had a white oak label on it. And the guy that delivered it said, "But it says it's a white oak." And I said, "But it's not a white oak, it's a red oak." So it kind of got shuffled around and got put on my property. I had to put it somewhere. I didn't plant it. And in the minutes here, I say, but, it said something about the oak.
You mentioned.
A red oak that wintered at Don's property did not leaf out. I was weed whacking a week ago and I see these oak leaves crawling out of the weeds. So I'm like, oh shit, it's because it was lying on its side. So it was kind of covered in weeds. So it is alive, but I don't think it's worth planting, quite honestly, because we've got plenty of red oak in the vicinity. So I think we want to repeat with try a white oak, but we want to find the right locations. And again, I kind of lean towards the end of Court Street, which is bare. We've got several trees in there. The Sweets have planted 2 oaks. They also moved a volunteer American elm. And the Central Maine Power donated a Valley Forge cultivar elm, which is right along that stretch of street, on Court Street. And then on the other side, we started with this Tupelo that is not gonna probably make it. And I don't know what else to plant along there, Bill, because it's a slope. It's off the street, and it's a slope that goes down to the playing field level. There's wires overhead that cut across from one corner diagonally over to part of the MMA. I don't know if it's an ideal location. There used to be enormous elm trees there, and they got knocked down during the microbursts in 07. I don't think it's a great location for
No, maybe up by the corner, further up on the inside of the fence.
Well, that's where that Tupelo is though.
Right.
It's kind of as close as I want to get.
Yeah, if well, yeah, and that is there if it makes it.
What's that?
And that is there if it does make it.
And then further down, we planted the tulip tree down between the two MMA houses down there. And I'm sort of hesitant to plant anymore along the MMA property because I don't know what they want to do with their property someday. You know, they might want to. There's that stretch between the last MMA house and the MMA, I guess it's like faculty housing on the corner. There's that space there. I asked Carl, what are you gonna do with that space? Can I put a trees in there? Oh, yeah, sure. But I'm suspicious they're gonna wanna do something there someday.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
It's kind of some beat up. I wouldn't be surprised if that whole area gets
I know,
redone,
redone.
repurposed.
Yeah, I know. That's where the fire station is. Yeah. Something like that. Okay, so let's think about it. And as you drive around town, think of a spot. A lot of our experience, Suzanne, has been when you want to plant a tree, like down at the end of Green Street where we lost 2 big elms. People go, no, I like my view. No, don't plant a tree in my yard here. Or no, don't plant a tree. I don't want to have to mow around it and rake the leaves and that kind of, you get that kind of feedback from folks. So it's a bit of a struggle
Wow.
to find a location.
So if you want to continue on with Sue Loomis, I don't think she'd care that it would be a white
Yeah.
oak instead of red.
On her
Yeah.
corner there, yeah. So that's a good consideration.
A pretty bare spot right there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Bergmans have plenty of trees.
So that's your homework. Just keep an eye out for where you think a replanting could happen. And we gotta remember to take pictures so we can put them on our poster next year. I told you the stories about the governor, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That was a hysterical interchange with her.
What was it?
The governor was the keynote speaker at the Tree City USA awards ceremony at the Viles Arboretum in Augusta. And before she spoke, she came kind of wandering around. She came over to a table near me, wanted to find out where those folks were from. And she came over to me and I said, how do you do, Governor? I'm from Castine. And I have a funny story to tell you. And I said, I have friends who are in London visiting the Kew Gardens and the Chelsea Flower Show. And they were talking to some British fellows who asked them where they were from. They said, we're from Maine. Whereupon the British guy said, oh, see you in court.
Oh.
And she laughed, she looked at me and chuckled and she said, I think that ought to be on the flag. So, and then later I had an opportunity to say, Governor, I'd like to invite you to Castine, please, to see our elm trees. Just call me. Happy to do it. But of course, she bypassed Castine and went straight to New Brunswick instead. But oh well. But it was just an interesting, fun, and all the timing of that was amazing that just happened to bump into her like that. Speaking of publicity, I want to write something in the Patriot about what we do and what we've been doing. Beyond just the letter that we write in the fall for our fundraiser. And I would like someone to help write something about the Castine Tree Committee, who its members are, what we do. Just sort of like raise the awareness among the town. So if anyone would like to assist in doing that, I would be grateful for that. Because I want to give you guys homework. Any other business? We're doing pretty well. We got 10 minutes to go, and the other folks will probably start coming in here. I
Oh,
think,
no place to park, because.
well, that's because
the
of Tai
Chi,
Chi.
yeah.
Oh, this is minor.
Yeah.
You see when the touring company has their meetings, or I forget the other.
That was a one-off meeting.
I don't know, the other day, somebody parked right in front of the driveway, so nobody could even park it down back, and I was like,
In front
"Ah."
of the driveway?
Yeah, they parked right there, so I couldn't get down.
Amazing.
So I decided I'd go on a little tour, do a couple things that I hadn't, got to, and then I drove to look at the new pavement to make sure
Well,
everything was good.
May I ask him,
Yeah,
who is our traffic officer?
we don't have one yet, but we will
Can you
soon
be the
enough.
traffic officer?
Well, I kind of am by
Well, you
default.
could have
I've written
taken
out
that
some
car.
tickets. I thought about that, but then I figured
You
I,
could have.
Make citizens.
Citizens,
I know.
I've already done my duty regarding go-karts on the streets of Castine.
Oh,
Already done that.
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that one.
and it's so funny on that one there, that I actually saw where the go-kart person was, but wasn't even near Court Street, where it was and everything, right? So we'll just leave it at that. But it was funny because I'm like, I wonder if that's related. And then before I could even think about telling Karen about it, she goes, so Don gave us an update. And I'm like, funny you
I
said
have
that.
video updates.
Right. So,
Because he went right by my house.
but no, I thought about doing a warning. I usually have a parking ticket over my visor, and I must have given it out to one of my frequent flyers, my 24-hour people
Well,
that
then,
play the game of
in lieu
moving
of a
their cars
ticket-
every day.
In lieu of a ticket, you can do something called a nasty note.
Right, well, right. I almost bought some of those learn how to park little, little business cards, and I'm not sure they'd be appropriate for that type of setting, They're more for Walmart, or wherever, where somebody parks and takes
Yeah,
up
takes
somehow
up 2
three
spaces.
spots sometimes, because they really
Yeah.
think they're crazy.
With the truck.
They're challenged, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any issues, again, if you see a tree that's looking weird, let me know, especially for flagging, you know what flagging looks like. Because we have many trees that aren't treated, and they're private trees. And we encourage, and that'll be something we want to tell the public, whoever wants to write anything, that we encourage them to treat their trees if they value their trees, and there are only about 3 people in town who do that right now. It's expensive. They like their trees and they want to keep their trees. So they treat them. Right, Bill? 3? Full and wider, foot,
Benjamin,
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, they're the people who are renovating the TNC.
So they live next to Betsy.
Jim Rogers.
Ginny
Oh,
Foot,
yeah.
Ginny Foot's tree and their tree, they're in together. They're the ones that bought the former TNC.
That's what I was asking, yeah. Okay.
What's the approximate cost for treatment?
Depends on the diameter of the tree.
I'm thinking of the great big one, it's just to the north of me, it's that, White Cape across from the transfer station, it's got a huge elm in the front. There's new people there, and I know they're gonna ask about it.
Yep, I mean, I can swing in and measure
Is
it.
there any way?
And
See what-
it looks healthy as far as I can.
Yeah, I'd want to take a good
Sidewalk.
look at it. I wouldn't put that first on the list anyway. I never do new tree without looking at it a little later in the
Court Street, right?
season.
Oh, you
Like
mean the
sense
young
treating them.
elms?
If
Like
there's
right
even
in front of Timber Gate.
that has that job, I don't know. I haven't seen that on
I
that
don't see
tree.
people using that sidewalk.
Oh, I do.
That is a
I
tag
agree.
tree, where you-
And I have to fight the branches
Yeah.
all the time, and I'm thinking.
but it won't be, it wouldn't show up on
Thank
the
you for that.
street tree map, but it is tagged.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bill, Patrick conveniently triggered my brain. Trimming of young elms, we have a whole bunch of them in town. And some of them have limbs that are hanging over sidewalks now. And their trunks are like so, maybe. And then there's a bunch on the golf course that you see when you come into town. I would dearly love to have a session with you.
Yep.
On pruning the
You can do
lower.
that, should just do it. I mean, I know that they're all resistant and everything, but should just do it in the dormant season would be.
Yeah, right. But we gotta figure out
We could
when to do that.
easily do that.
Okay. Let's
Whatever.
book it up here for now, and then we can
Yep.
do it later. You like to do it more in the late winter? All right.
Oh, any time after, I don't know, Thanksgiving
Yeah.
or whatever. Good.
I'm gonna be laid up then, because I'm getting another hip. So, I will be.
I'm laughing because my hips have been driving
I
me
ain't going
crazy
out on
lately. The
ice
other
with a
hip.
new hip. My other hip is great now. I love a bionic hip. It's the birth hip that isn't so good.
No, we could do something in November probably.
Okay. Well, again, I can't hobble outside in November because I'll be,
Oh, you still get it?
it's gonna be a couple months.
Yep.
Before I'm willing to brave ice and snow or whatever's out there. Unless the weather's nice, then I can do it. So we'll see about that. Yeah. Patrick just mentioned trees on Court and, Timmer Galen's house.
Yep.
Right in front there, and maybe even the Benjamins,
There's a lot of
the Buchanans.
that need work.
And I don't know what, Paul Galtieri planted in front of his house there, but he planted a couple of trees on the street side where the driveway.
I haven't noticed what he planted. I'm surprised he planted anything.
There are a couple of little scrawny things. I haven't gone up close to look at them, but they don't look terribly happy. But there they are. He planted something. So. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. The next one is July 25. It's summertime, and I know people get busy, and anybody have a problem with